Hi, I'm Matt Gasson, and I'm here today with Rich Hansen. We're here today to talk to you about the brand new track Alias and the versatility of the different drilling options and layout options that you can do with it. Rich, why don't you tell everyone a little bit about what makes this ball so special?
When it comes to layouts and drillings, there's two things about the track Alias that make it so much different than any other bowling ball. One is the core design. The mass has been distributed in such a manner that, depending on what layout you choose, you can greater manipulate the strength of the mass bias overall. The other thing is how it's manufactured. A standard ball is manufactured with a target of a 3-inch pin and a 3-ounce top weight. With the Alias, we've lowered that target down to a 2-inch pin and a 2-ounce top weight. What this does is allows us to use that wider variety of drilling options, and they won't require balance holes.
So Rich, tell me a little bit about this layout.
All right, the first layout we're going to drill for you today, Matt, is the pin-up strong mass bias layout. This layout is an 80-degree mass bias angle, a 5-inch pin to his PAP, and a 30-degree VAL angle. With this layout, it's going to put the thumb hole right into the mass bias. What this does is magnify the mass bias strength. So for this particular layout, this is a 0.027 mass bias strength.
What kind of motion is that going to give me on the lanes?
Well, with that strong of a mass bias, you're going to see a much more violent reaction when the ball encounters friction. Let's go out on the lanes and have you throw it, and you can tell us what you think.
Sounds good.
All right, so we just got done watching Matt throw the pin-up strong mass bias layout. What did you think of that ball reaction?
It hooked. When that ball saw friction, it really changed direction pretty quick and pretty hard.
Okay, so when would you want that type of ball reaction, or when would you use it?
I'm going to need some oil. Longer oil patterns, heavier oil patterns. When I'm really looking for the ball to dig in and change direction and go, that's when I'm going to be throwing that one.
Okay, well now let's talk about the second layout I'm going to show you today. It as well is a pin-up layout. The difference is the mass bias angle. So we're still dealing with a 5-inch pin to PAP, but we've shrunk the mass bias angle down to 25 degrees, and we're still using the same 30-degree VAL angle.
What kind of reaction is that going to give me?
What it's going to do is really going to smooth out that break point a little bit. It's still going to be strong and aggressive, but it's going to tame it down just enough that makes the ball more continuous down lane. Let's take a look. All right, Matt, we just saw you throw the pin-up medium mass bias layout, which had an intermediate depth of 0.015. What did you think of that layout?
In comparison to the strong mass bias layout, it wasn't quite as strong at the break point, but it was still pretty strong and had a lot of continuation down lane as well.
So that would be the more versatile ball you'd throw in a wider variety of patterns?
Yeah, that's going to be the one that I'm probably going to use the most as far as the variety of patterns.
All right, so don't get too excited about that one. I got one more layout I'm going to show you, and that's the one that makes this ball perfectly symmetrical. In order to drill the symmetrical layout for the Alias, you're going to want to put the mass bias at 90 degrees from the bowler's thumb hole. So since Matt is right-handed, we want that mass bias to be 90 degrees to the right. So in order to figure out what that mass bias angle is, I must first start with a known drilled ball. So for Matt, I'm choosing the strong mass bias layout, which put the mass bias right in the thumb. So this layout made that degree 80 degrees. So from Matt's PAP through his pin to his thumb hole is 80 degrees. So I take 80 degrees minus the 90, which gives me a negative 10. So when I go to lay out Matt's symmetrical layout, that mass bias angle is going to be negative 10. Now let me show you actually how you do that layout. So we figured out Matt's mass bias angle needs to be negative 10 degrees or 350 degrees from his PAP for the symmetrical layout. So for this layout, negative 10 by 5, like the other balls, and then by 30 degree VAL. So we'll start by drawing a line from the pin to the mass bias. I'll put 0 on the ruler edge on the pin, and 0 degrees on that line from the pin to the mass bias. If I measure to the right, that will be a positive mass bias angle, so we want a negative 10. So to the left, 10 degrees. And that creates my mass bias angle. Now for my pin distance, I'll measure down from the pin, from the center of the pin to 5 inches. That marks my PAP. And now I'm going to create my VAL angle. Put 0 on the PAP, on the ruler edge, 0 degrees on the pin. Measure to the right, 30 degrees. And connect that point to my PAP. I now have my PAP in my vertical axis line, or my VAL. Now I need to reverse Matt's PAP. His PAP is a ½ inch up, so I'm going to go ½ inch down. And I'm going to measure across to create my midline. And his horizontal measurement is 5 1/4. So go to the left, 5 1/4. That'll be the center of grip. And now I'm creating my center line. So from there, I'll measure up for where Matt's fingers should go and his thumb hole should go for the layout. Now what you'll notice is the pin is above his fingers and the CG is above his fingers. But because of the new specs we're building for this bowling ball with lower top weights and shorter pin distances, we will not need a balance hole for this ball.